What's going on, people? Welcome to United View. Welcome to another update. Good afternoon. I know Owen just done an update on David De Gea about an hour and a half ago, maybe 2 hours now. I don't know. Sort of just suggesting that it's a bit up in the air about David De Gea. He hasn't been submitted on the retained list. United with a short statement. Bit fishy there. Something's going on. Had a little chat with Owen about that, and then about an hour later. We get more reports going further than that, saying he's off. David De Gea could be leaving Manchester United. Now, that's going to be music to a lot of people's ears. I know that he's a legend of the club. He's been here a long time. Some of you lot may not even call him a legend, which I've seen that labeled around, recently, which I think that's a step too far. But anyway, let's stick to not. This isn't a division view. This is the news view. This is the United view. So do you know what? Owen, you was only live. Sorry, you only put a video out a little while ago. Yeah. What's changed? What's changed? What is the update now? What's it saying now?
So the update now is based upon the news today, which is official news, that David De Gea is not part of Manchester United's retained list, as Flex mentioned, i.e. they submit a list of the Premier League of players they're keeping and players they're not keeping, players that are going to be released upon the expiration of the contract or for other circumstances. David De Gea was not included in the retained list, and the quote that they use is that discussions were ongoing between David and Manchester United over a new Manchester United contract. So that happened. I did the video where I said, well, it's interesting. It's certainly something. Does it mean he's leaving? No. Does it mean that he's staying? No. But it's certainly curious because reportedly this contract had been ready for quite some time and it was waiting for sign-off from Eric Ten Hag and it hadn't been signed off. Well, the Mirror, after that came out, David McDonald from the Mirror said, breaking news, David De Gea is set to leave Manchester United this summer. Sources, according to the Mirror, had indicated that David De Gea's contractual situation is looking bleak. He has so far been unwilling to accept a reduction on his current £375,000 a week salary. Already, by what the Mirror is saying anyway, is that Manchester United are already looking at replacements for David De Gea with Jordan Pickford, Diego Costa, and Andre Onana, Onana, on their shortlist. Everyone went crazy going, David De Gea is leaving. Flex, De Gea is leaving. Breaking news. That's why he wasn't on the list. They lied when they said their statement that the discussions were ongoing. He's leaving. Maybe not so much, or maybe not that far. Jamie Jackson then said, it's like the takeover all over again. Jamie Jackson said, Manchester United are less sure of De Gea signing a new deal than they were about a fortnight ago, but still remain optimistic that he will sign fresh terms. But then Rob Dawson from ESPN has said, Manchester United are growing concerned that David De Gea might have played his last game for the club. Manchester United chiefs believe they were close to an agreement with De Gea to extend his contract, but talks have dragged on, and there are fears he could now leave this summer. So try and digest that, Flex.
To be fair, because it's in the here and now. I mean, the beginning bit made the sirens start going off anyway, really, which you covered, because that's why you covered it, because
I don't have the sirens at the moment.
Actual sirens, there you go. That's why you did it, because there's no way that something's not going on if he's not on the retained list, and there's like a little sub text to say this is why, here's a little that is well thought of, and that is them saying we don't know what's happening. We said this, even was it this morning when the Onana? Yeah, it was this morning. We said that the fact that contract is still on the table unsigned for this long, they could have announced that already. Everything's died down, like we said. The treble, they've had their little moment. Our season finished a couple of weeks ago. Like, you can announce it, you can. And the fact that they haven't just meant, this is stalling here. Something's not right. Then we're seeing continuous links with a goalkeeper. And then we're seeing the fact that the Harry Kane move collapsed, and that links into the goalkeeper, because then what we were being told is that actually they might spend big on the keeper, because the striker for the 100+ million probably ain't going to happen now with Kane or Osimhen. So whatever striker it is, even though Rasmus Højlund was quoted at 86 million yesterday from Atalanta, which was stupid. Man United ain't going to pay that for him. It means that the big money we were going to spend on that one position, maybe it turns out it ain't going to be a striker after all, because we couldn't get one. The big money we spend is on a goalkeeper or on a Declan Rice or something like that. So that is made it interesting. And then when you get, so when we're thinking that, we know what it is. Retained list comes out, he ain't on it. That backs up what we were saying this morning. And then they just went the full 9 yards, didn't they? Then you get breaking news, the Mirror, he's actually gone, or he's going to go. And then exactly what I said would happen, because I was talking to Owen about this on the phone. You know, as the news break, we go, okay, what time should we cover it? What should we do? You know, what should we say? And we were literally saying, I said, what will happen next, Owen, is within the next 20 minutes, half an hour, the rest of the journos will be on their phones, either ringing the club or ringing their sources or whatever, to get a line on that, because they will be going, tell you what, I wasn't going to write. Jamie Jackson from The Guardian wasn't going to say anything on David De Gea today. He's gone off of the guy from The Mirror who's put out the exclusive, and he's like, right, I wanted to clear this up. I want to find out what's going on. He would have put a phone call into the club, and the club would have told him the line that he said, which is that, what was it, Owen, actually, the exact line that Jamie Jackson
when Jamie Jackson said Man United are less sure of De Gea signing a new deal than they were about a fortnight ago, but they still remain optimistic he will sign fresh terms. And also, again, I think it must be stressed from the Mirror point of view. And this is where, again, he's been very, very clever with his words, because he said De Gea is set to leave Manchester United this summer. Well, as of right now, he is. Because in 2 weeks he doesn't have a contract. Because he doesn't have a contract. It doesn't mean he's going to be leaving. It's just as of things right now, he's set to leave.
And this is what journalists do. So this is, again, because we've been in our journalistic bag for the last, however long with Mike Keegan, and we're listening to a lot to Ben Jacobs. We all are. We get to see a lot about how journalism works. And I know for a fact that line there, what Jamie Jackson says, that literally sounds like a copy and paste. If he's emailed someone at the club and they've sent him back that, or he's phoned them and he's written that down. What does it say again, Owen? Man United are less optimistic than they were a fortnight ago.
Less optimistic than they were a fortnight ago, but still remain optimistic he will sign fresh terms.
That sounds exactly like what someone from the club would say. Now you can look at that two ways. You can look at it and get angry and say, oh, but they're still optimistic. They still want to keep this bloody guy. For God's sake, this is what I mean about this club. You can go down that route, or you can say their PR is a real thing. They can't have out there. They can't be going to journalists. Yeah, it's looking peak. We don't know right now. They have to keep it. They have to keep it calm. They don't want a circus going on around it whilst they're trying to deal with something. And someone as big as David De Gea. You guys who don't rate De Gea anymore, and I'm in that camp of wanting him to move on, but you can argue he's not a big player and he's not this anymore. But inside those walls of Manchester United, this is a big deal of how they move him on, what that looks like, and the discussions around it. Man United will want to keep that quiet. They will want to keep the lid on it as much as they can. So if someone rings directly for comment, they can't lie. They can't just act like everything's okay, but they ain't really going to admit that something massive is up. But actually what they've done in that statement, that kind of admits both. Well, we are less. So why are you less confident than 2 weeks ago then? Because something's going on. Because it's not signed. That being less than means that something has changed and it's now a worse situation than it was. But on the flip side, remaining optimistic that he's still going to sign a new one covers your ass, because you don't want to make it look like, hurry up and go. So the club are playing it perfectly. The Mirror, is it the Mail or the Mirror? The Mirror. Obviously got their sources from somewhere, not the club, you would think, if the club are telling Jamie Jackson that.
Well, again, I don't know. I don't know if they are. I think again, it's very being careful how they've used it. Where the words that they've used, saying that he's set to leave Man United this summer. Well, you can easily come to that conclusion based off the retained list today. He's not on it. They say we're still in discussions, but as of right now, he is set to leave Manchester United this summer unless a new deal can be agreed. I was saying earlier on in the video that I did that. And we spoke about this a few mornings ago, didn't we? Where you said, what's the bigger priority? Is it a midfielder or a goalkeeper? And I said, for me, I felt that it was at this point, it turned into a goalkeeper. The prioritization of it had risen to beneath a striker, which I believe is the top target. We need a striker this summer. But I said a goalkeeper because not only because of the distribution and the errors towards the end of the season, and I am factoring in the fact that he won the Golden Gloves, and we did concede a similar amount of goals to the other top teams in the Premier League, bar sort of City, this season. So there's and De Gea certainly played his role in that. But my key thing is that it's the proximity of him to the end of his contract, and that we are at a point now where a decision has to be made. And And it feels like I said earlier on that maybe it was Ten Hag who was unsure about his decision, but maybe it's De Gea as well who's unsure about his decision. If those reports are to be believed, maybe he doesn't want to take a pay cut. Maybe he sees a pay cut as being disrespectful for his tenure
Well,
at the club.
KG was saying that, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Remember, KG through this bit was in a lot of flexing KG shows in general. He was like, "I'm looking at De Gea. I'm saying, big man, why are you happy at taking a pay cut? If you still believe you're that good." He questioned that, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He questioned that, and I suppose it's somewhat right too. If you take a pay cut which is that big, 375k to say 200, which is a lot, it's almost you admitting, yeah, I'm not worth it. I know I'm not worth it. I got away with one for like 5 years, however long my contract was. I think it was from 2018 or something like that, wasn't it? 5-year deal. I got away with one. I knew I wasn't that value for money, and maybe, I mean, we don't know. This is me speculating here, but maybe his head has been turned a little bit with potential Saudi offers, where he says, "No, actually, you know what? I can still get that money if I go to Saudi Arabia. I can still get 375k or 400k if I wanted to." So maybe he says that to United, going, "Well, I've got offers." But I think, but at this point, and again, surely he's not naive enough to know. I get back in yourself, but we know for a fact 375k is not value for money with David De Gea. It's just not. That is the highest paid goalkeeper in the world. One of the highest paid players in the Premier League at this point. Still, even just in general, one of the highest paid players in the world. That is not value for money. It's not. And again, I think it would be a different situation if De Gea had 2 years left on his contract. I wouldn't even be saying, I wouldn't be pushing that whole, maybe we need to look to get a new keeper this summer, because you would say, well, it's not really, he's got 2 years left. It's difficult to move him on. He wants to stay, etc., etc. It's the fact that as of today, he's got 2 weeks left as a Manchester United player, unless terms are agreed. And that's why United are assessing their options, because they're trying to cover all bases. They're thinking, well, maybe what happens if he does
can just
leave?
let him go for a free,
Yeah.
You get those wages off. You don't have to worry about trying to sell him, someone cover the wages or loan or this, that. He's literally just not your problem anymore. And I know that sounds rude, but in terms of the business side of the game, Man United don't have to do anything. They can literally then look at how they finance getting a new keeper. But that's why they were always reluctant to, because of the budgets, because of what's going on with the takeover, because of the need for a striker, reluctant to definitely get rid of him from the start. And then you say, shit, we ain't got money to actually buy a keeper.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because imagine if we did spend 100 odd million on Harry Kane, and then whatever it is on Mason Mount and whatever it is on another centre back, you're going for the level of goalkeeper that Ten Hag's going to want, who can do the things he wants, who's out there that's attainable for this price or this price. That's how you got to balance it up. And that's why maybe De Gea was always just a contingency. Maybe he always was. And actually now, it's interesting that since the Kane situation seems to have fallen through, who knows, it could reignite. You never know. With transfers, things change all the time, just like the takeover situation. But now it looked like the focus changed a bit when they realized where the money would be spent. Because we all just assuming that money is going to be spent on the striker. Now, that is still a concern. We've been speaking about how much of a concern it is that if we don't get Osimhen or you don't get Kane, which looks likely, who do you get? What's the level of striker that you're going to get? Now Atalanta want to pull our pants down for Rasmus Højlund as well. So Gonzalo Ramos is a load of money, and I'm not 100% convinced on him in general anyway. Who do Man United get? Because they still need 2 strikers. But what they might still do is go, well, we definitely can sort the goalkeeper area. Things need sorting. At the end of the day, it needs sorting. It is a massive problem. If the priorities change around, am I that bothered? I'm concerned. I'm massively concerned if we don't get strikers.
It's the striker thing, isn't it? It's the striker
things. But if they swap round, like what we were talking about the other day, is it a midfielder? Is it a goalkeeper at 2 or 3, whatever? I don't really care. If they sort it out, great. If they go and get Onana, you're never going to get me going, oh, but we didn't get this or we did. We're going to need it anyway. Doesn't matter what order you get it in. You have to get a better keeper who can do what we want. So if this happens from that, then it is a positive. But what isn't a positive, I think, in any circumstance, is having no strikers, but still having a new keeper. Yeah. I see. Some people might still take that because they're so fed up with David De Gea and say, listen, even if it means we have to, keep Martial and not have a striker for a bit, or even if it means we just have Højlund because that's all we could afford, but we've got Onana in, I'll take it because at least David De Gea is gone. Some people think that, and that's fine. I get why you think that. And some people say that by playing in that way with a new keeper, it will change us completely anyway. So we can get by with Rashford filling up front with Højlund or whatever it is you want to do. Me personally, I need to see the strikers. I'm fed up of not seeing them.
One thing I will say, and this is again coming from someone who actually, in an idea, and I've changed my tune on De Gea. I'll hold my hands up and say I was wrong, with what some people were saying. But one thing I will say is, I do think that United should, if the option is there and De Gea is not willing to reduce his terms and all that kind of stuff, then, as I said, for me, the keeper's become a second priority beneath a striker. But one thing I'm not going to do, which is what I have seen people doing, is some of the language that they've been describing De Gea in, that he's never been good or he's never contributed to United. He's always been rubbish. He's always cost us. Yeah, he's made errors over his time at the United, but you do have to describe him as a Manchester United legend. He holds the record for clean sheets at the club, and apart from the Champions League, he has won everything possible during his tenure at the club. And for what I don't understand is, I don't understand why so people are incapable of saying, yep, I think his time's over. I think, as I mentioned, it's come to a natural conclusion. His contract's up. The manager wants to go in a different direction in terms of play style. There are other options available now. That's key too, is there are goalkeepers on the market right now that would maybe improve the aspect of a keeper that Ten Hag is looking for without saying he's terrible, he's awful, he was never a legend, blah, blah, blah. Because for me, that's revisionist history. And that's just... Again, we don't want to be that club. Oh yeah, when you play for us, yeah, we'll back you. But until towards the end, when it gets sour, then we kick people out the door and we say they were never legends.
Not when you've given us actual service. Like people like Maguire who've come in here and done absolutely nothing. What have you won?
And again, this is going from someone I'm saying, I think De Gea should go this summer. I agree. But there's lines. There's lines.
And when you say that, you're just chatting shit. If you think I say this to Cam all the time. Like, because Cam, someone said in the chat there, Cam thinks he's always been crap and we've wasted 10 years on him and all this rubbish. It's just not true, is it? It's like you said, he's won every trophy apart from the Champions League, hasn't he?
Yeah.
League, Carabao Cup, FA Cup, Premier League. Yeah. He's won everything available. Community Shield. Yeah. He's won it. He's won it. And look, and he's our record clean sheet goalkeeper. Does that mean he's a better goalkeeper than Eddie van der Sar ever was? Does it mean he's better than Schmeichel? It doesn't mean that. But the longevity he's had, you don't get longevity at a big club if you're shit. You don't. And we've won stuff in that. You can say he's 3 years past it. He should have left 3 years ago. You could say that. That's fine. But you could say after a certain point it went downhill. Because what was the World Cup?
2018.
18,
innit? He made mistakes. And look,
that was it. Since then, it hasn't been the same. That is it. If you're honest.
And also, again, and you can talk about prior to this season and sort of last season, there were times where he was nearly on the way out. And look, there was a situation where they thought he was going to go to Real Madrid at one point, the fax machine, we were going to get Keylor Navas and all that kind of stuff. But he's been at United for a long period of time. He has achieved a lot and done a lot and provided years of service through sometimes very difficult times at United. You can say and appreciate what he's achieved, what he's done, whilst also saying, it's probably time for him to go. Again, his contract's up. It's a natural ending. It's a natural conclusion without kicking his ass out on the way door and being like, you were never good, piss off sort of thing.
Well, Cam says, he's in the chat, big up Cam. He says Madrid can thank the fax machine for their three-peat. To be honest, Real Madrid are that good. If he went there, he would have won everything.
Well, and also Cam says achieved a lot. Achieved a lot. The only thing he didn't win is the Champions League. You cannot argue he has not achieved a lot whilst he was at Manchester United. He has won, apart from the Champions League, everything there is to win. And he's won. Even this season, he won the Golden Glove. Again, that's not totally based on a goalkeeper, but we can't ignore what he has done. We can't.
No.
We can't. This is coming from someone that's going, yep, De Gea should go. I agree. Get Diogo Costa in. Don't get Pickford in. That would be awful. But get Costa in.
Exactly.
David Raya in. Get whoever.
Some people, it has to be right. Not just anyone but De Gea. I'm not on that train. I'm not on anyone but De Gea because some goalkeepers are shit as well or the same level. There's no point change. We have to get this right. It's not just get anybody but him. No, we need the right goalkeeper. We need the one who can play how Ten Hag wants to play. That's the whole point we're moaning. So if we get a keeper who's still not good with his feet, or is just okay at shot stopping, or just okay at with his feet, or just okay at coming from, I don't want someone who's okay. I want the real deal. I want someone who's excellent.
Yeah.
And the people that we have been linked with, actually, the goalkeepers apart from Pickford are. So we'll see. But anyhow, if we end up with Pickford, how would you feel about that?
What are we doing? What are we doing, Flex?
Exactly. Because I swear to God, I'll lose my shit if that happens. I won't be like, well, at least it ain't De Gea. Better pick. No.
And again, my point would be, and this is a big part of my thinking at the moment with De Gea going too, is that we know that this is almost a goalkeeper's market this summer. There's quite a few of them available. Sometimes it's difficult. Goalkeeper's a specialty position, so sometimes it's difficult, particularly good ones, to be available at certain times because clubs don't like to lose them if they've got good ones. We know it's been reported from lots of reports in Portugal. Diogo Costa likely has played his last game for Porto. We know David Raya is available this summer. He's got 1 year left on his contract. We know how much Brentford even want for him, 40 million. Okay, that's two there already. We know that Andre Onana might be on the market after the Champions League. A price of 70 million has been quoted. That's probably too much. You could probably get into down a little bit. There's 3 good goalkeepers on the market that are available this summer. And you end up going for Pickford, who, let's be honest, I mean, I don't know how long he's got left on his contract at Everton, but there are better options. And my point is there are better options available. And again, that factors into why I think now's the right time just to facilitate that De Gea exit, because you can say, look, you can go, we save some money. You've been around for a long time. You won the Golden Glove this season. Good way to finish up and go our separate ways. And again, particularly if those reports are accurate that he's sort of, scoffing a little bit at for 375k, you want to go down, never.
Yeah,
then you go, well, come on then. Let's
just go. And just back to how interesting it is with the lines that come out from the journalists from the club. Look at what Rob Dawson said. His line was, talks with De Gea are ongoing, but Man United are not as optimistic about reaching a compromise as they were a month ago. It's the same. It's the same line, De Gea was exploring the possibility of returning to Spain earlier this season, while there has also been tentative interest from clubs in Saudi Arabia. So, essentially, they try and move a few words around so it's theirs, but essentially it's the same line from the club that Jamie Jackson was told, really.
And you would be thinking to yourself, it's looking less likely than it was a fortnight ago, because a fortnight ago is the beginning of the month, and they thought, we've still got plenty of time. 2 weeks later, nothing's happened, so time's running out. So of course it looks more likely that he's going to go, because if they've made no if they were quite far apart a month ago and they've made no progress in 2 weeks, they're going, we've got 2 weeks left. In the last 2 weeks, we've done nothing. So what does that mean is going to happen in the next couple of weeks? I think the Saudi Arabia teams will sweep in. I do.
Yeah, it's just whether or not David De Gea, like you said,
wants
that. Yeah. Derek Hopkins been Derek Hopkins train fueler. Is a new member. Yes. Big up.
Choo.
Do you know what? Do you know what's funny just about trains? I went to the gym this morning, and I was at the front. There's like steppered machines at the front. Then there's like treadmills, so on and so forth. And I was at the front, and they have like 4 different TVs on different channels. And Thomas the Tank Engine was on, and and it was obviously because they're all on mute, and they got the subtitles on. I fully was involved. I was fully following it. I was like,
do you watch the TVs when you're in the gym or whatever?
Well, if I'm at the front, I'm talking like it's literally right in front of me now because I'm at the front row. So yeah, but I was like, hold on a minute, I'm like, oh no, Henry, you need to. How are we going to get him back on the tracks? He's in big trouble here.
Why was it usually this like the news or whatever is on?
That's what I'm saying. There's like 5 screens. So one has like Channel 5 and it's Milkshake, the kids thing.
Yeah.
One has BBC News. One has Good Morning Britain. It's just a bit of everything. Maybe it was after the news, but I was like,
Go on.
Yeah, no, I was just fully involved in the story. They were basically saying, I think it's Henry, the black one. He was like, basically they got bored and they're like, oh, we want to do more stuff. We want to show that we're better than we are. So they start going places where they're not supposed to go, and they crash, they fall off, they come off the rails and shit. And the crane one, this is mad. We're talking about Thomas Tank Engine at 3:30. Sorry, guys. The crane one's like, oh, I can get you off, don't worry. Then one of them has a crash because he goes down a mad hill he's not supposed to go down, and then he crashes, and then the crane thing's not strong enough. They can't even get him off, so they all need to muck in, and then Thomas comes along. He's like, this is why we have to stay in our lane, guys. Like, you don't need to prove that you're amazing at that. We're a good team. And then a new Sesame Street thing came on as well. I couldn't believe that. I was like, wow. So, yeah, that's what it was.
Flex, have you got sunstroke?
No, I haven't.
Because you're talking, I mean, even for my standards, an insane amount of shit. It's crazy. This is KG's fault, because
why? He came up there.
And if you spend too much time around him, his personality rubs off on you. Because I'm the same. I do this too. I start off on one thing. Next thing I know, I'm like you. I'm talking about Thomas the Tank Engine or something different for 20 minutes. It gets you. Blame KG. Hashtag.
It's just what happened. Yeah. Why did we start talking about that?
Because his name.
Because the train was Train Fueler. Back to the super chats. Ranzel says they keep in Greenwood. Well, like we said the other day, we still don't know. CeeLo, been a member for 11 months. Big up CeeLo. Says United now just seem a mess. Our negotiations are always poor, and we don't sell well either. We need to fix up quickly. Big up the UV fam. Well, you could argue that it's not a mess with De Gea if they're actually doing this. You could argue that actually if he goes and goes on a free, it depends on what happens, isn't it?
What's the reasons for him going? Does he not agree? Does a new contract not get signed because he refuses to, go lower? Or is it like, my point being is, who actually sort of initiates the exit? Is it United going, oh, we just couldn't get him to agree to a lesser contract? Or is it De Gea being like, if you can't pay me, I'm off? You know what I mean? It's interesting, that part.
Yeah, it is. There are other bits that are totally a mess though, because look, Harry Maguire, we've got to get him out. Yeah, I can't defend that. CeeLo also gifted five memberships. Big up CeeLo as well. Not only did he put a members chat, but he also gifted 5 lucky people a membership. Can I see when that was and who got them? I can't just now, but big up to all the newbies who have just joined as a result of CeeLo's contribution. Gergo says, spot on. I wanted to replace him, but everybody talking about him now like he is Di Maria. Exactly. Spot on. He's not that. Diva says, why striker? We can get a goalkeeper at place of centre-back or Mount. Why get a striker? We can get a goalkeeper at the place of a centre-back or Mount. Oh, instead of getting a centre-back, you can get David De Gea, a replacement for David De Gea, or don't get Mount. I hear what you're saying. So do it instead of a centre-back or Mount. Aminor says, Flex, would you want Pickford over Henderson? I think I'd rather Henderson. Pickford just moves mad. There's not much in that. It's much of a muchness in it, man. They've got different reasons as to why. It's not much between them two.
When is Pickford's contract even available? Like, why is that a thing? Is it because he's got a year left? Because if not, he's an English goalkeeper from Everton. Like, they'd be wanting money.
Oh, yeah, 100%. He's England's number one.
June 2027.
Oh.
For 4 years.
Get it. And he is like Mr. Everton as well, isn't it? Just stayed up again. Like, he's a big player.
It's like, you've got a goalkeeper that's got a year left in his contract from Brentford, another goalkeeper, like I said, that's available from Porto, and yet you're going for another goalkeeper in Pickford that's not even on the market. Questionable if he can make it at a United level, and he's got 4 years left on his contract. That's just bizarre.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
MC, that's just a bit silly, that one. K-Flow says, it's in the club's MO to go for Pickford or even Henderson. Under the Glazers, it's right up there. That can happen. We know what they're like. Lil Yo-Yo says, Flex, do you flex at the gym? Yeah, I do.
No, watching Thomas the Tank Engine.
Yeah, exactly. whilst doing a lot of exercise. Fuad Kadani's army says 12-year-old get thrown out of the back door due to the club inability to make a decision early. 12 years get thrown out the back door, due to the club inability to make a decision early. And the Glazers United FC, he deserves a better send-off. Happened to Rio. Hashtag fans are clowns. And Maxwell Stewart says, here, Owen. He was a good servant, but life moves on. It's time for De Gea to move on with his head held high. Would love the same energy for Maguire, though. He might not be good enough, but he tries his best. Yeah, Owen, stop getting onto Maguire. He tries his best, so stop going in on him. It's not his fault. He's not good. I wish you could show the same energy for David De Gea. Yeah, Harry Maguire is a professional. He's worked hard. Comes from Sheffield. He's a family man. He's trying. So stop going in on him.
That super chat started off and then went in a different direction than I was expecting that to go. What? So the saying that we should be sort of saying Maguire deserves a good send off.
Yeah. Not celebratory, like, yeah, he's gone. It should be like, oh, good luck, you know.
After 4 years, as opposed to 12.
Listen, mate.
Wow.
Super chat is super chat. Don't be like KG and get rattled by the super chats.
I'm not going to be like KG.
KG
ban them all. Get rid of them.
He is a disgrace and a cheat. That person who was saying like KG's doing my head in the other day. KG just lost his shit. So insecure. That was funny.
One. I don't know if you've heard that. Like he's tier
I know. He's tier one. He's tier one
journalist.
And thank you for the super chat, Maxwell. Really, really appreciate it.
Yes.
Actually, I think it was Maxwell who even said it to KG about Maguire the other day. And KG was like, but what did I say that was wrong? I said, he's not good enough. That's not rude. I said that we've got better players. That's not rude. And I think it was Maxwell, actually. Final Mount bid.
Yes. Mason Mount. Mason Mount. A bit of an update when it comes to Mason Mount and a improved bid from United, but possibly a final one. Once again, coming from the Mirror, saying that Manchester United are readying to make an improved bid of £50 million for Mason Mount. Eric Ten Hag has identified Mason Mount as a player who can give Manchester United a different dimension in attack with his ability to play in a variety of positions across the front line. Man United's offer for Mount, though, will likely be their last. Man United hope their latest offer of £50 million for Mason Mount will be accepted as Chelsea need to sell to comply with financial fair play rules, having spent more than £600 million in the last 2 transfer windows. It was also then reported by Rob Dawson too that United are set to make a second bid for Mason Mount. They are hoping to agree a fee of around £50 million and won't stretch as far as the £70 million that Chelsea are looking for. So a second bid's going to go in, Flex, of £50 million, but reportedly that's as high as United are willing to go. The question is, do you believe that that is the highest United are going to go for him? It should be, but do you think
I hope so. Yeah, I really hope so. I don't think it. I think if they're bluffing, it won't be much more than that. It won't be much more than that. It might be, the 50 plus the add-ons, so it ends up being 56 point something million. When you get those little odd numbers, those weird numbers. But that's going to be music to a lot of people's ears. It's music to my ears that, the report is saying 50 million or we're off. I hope they stick to that. I really do hope they stick to that because he shouldn't even be costing 40. At maximum, it should be 40. But I think 50 million is the maximum I'm willing to go to. I was saying to Matisse the other day that Chelsea are taking a piss. They are. And they, like we said, they need to sell these players. They need to trim that squad down. So if they start being stupid and putting out big P's, same with Kai Havertz, if they want 70, 75 million for him, people just ain't going to pay it. And when Pochettino wants to sign Caicedo and he wants to sign this player and that player and this player and that player, they ain't going to be able to because they haven't. It's like a chain, isn't it? They need to guarantee that these other players are going to leave. So I'm saying walk away from the deal. Walk away from the deal. If they try and even get a penny more, I know I said I would stretch it to the 50 plus add-ons, but if they really want to be strict on this, most people don't. I say most people. A lot of people don't even want Mason Mount. I don't mind him, but the fan base isn't going to lose sleep if Chelsea tried to charge too much and we wouldn't go high enough. This isn't one of them type of deals that people want to see us at the table for ages. Just negotiate and get it done. Why are you taking too long? Why are you stalling? Some people want to see us just walk away anyway because they don't rate Mason Mount. And the other set of people want to see us walk away if the price gets too high because they don't mind Mason Mount. Those are the two options I see within the fan base of how people feel. So if they try and ask for a penny more within reason, unless it's like 52 or 53, something stupid like that, see you later. And you know what? They'll probably pick up the phone in a few weeks later. What about that? You still interested?
We kind of need that money to get Caicedo.
They could be like Barca, where they can't register the players. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, imagine the nerve. That's what I was going to say. Imagine the nerve of having spent over £600 million across the last 2 transfer windows, finishing the bottom half, by the way, too, amortization, stretching out Enzo Fernandez onto like a decade-long contract. And then when you've got a player that's left with 1 year left on his contract, and he's told you, I'm not signing a new contract, I'm off, and you're going, we want 70 million. United be like, Todd, like again, you on crack. Like you are crazy. Some of the numbers that you put out there when it comes to the signings that you've done and the length of the deals, and you think Mason Mount with a year left of his contract is worth 70 million after a bad season. He's not a bad player, but he's had a bad season. His price is not up here. It's not like you've just won the Champions League. That was a couple of years ago. And he's got 1 year left in his contract. It's gone down. Take the money because you need the money. I think they're playing this great business plan. And again, there are other options available. And United need to do their due diligence on those other options and show Chelsea we ain't bluffing when we say this is it. We'll go elsewhere because we don't have that much money to spend this summer. So if you think you're going to take the mick out of us, we're off. And this is where, what's his name? Hargreaves, that new head of negotiations, really needs to show how valuable he is in that new role. If you're negotiating with Chelsea and they're saying, well, 70, take it or leave it, because we know eventually we'll come back. We'll leave it then. Eventually you can come back and ask us for 50, but by that point, we've gone elsewhere and we'll nick him on a free next summer instead. And that's on you. That's your fault, Todd. Ridiculous.
So how do you feel then? How do you think we should go higher than 50?
Chelsea, the way Chelsea operate over the last 12 months really annoys Chelsea. Me. The reason it bugs me so much is I just see the double standard because you cannot. They spent 600 million flex and finished in the bottom half. Yeah. The bottom half, like United not this past season before when we finished 6th. Every single time you turned on the TV, United, they're a disgrace.
But because we're massive, though.
I get that. I get that.
Hated, adored, never ignored.
I get that. I understand that. 600 million. And then you get some Chelsea fans have the nerve to try and criticize us this season as well. I'm not sure what's going on at United. What's going on with you? Like, you aren't even
Chelsea fan
half.
Could say, no Chelsea fan should be speaking about any other club, to be fair. I've reminded Matisse of that many a time. It got to the point where they had to end up making a joke out of their season and just be happy with it and just vibe with it because you're left with no other emotion. It wasn't even anger. It was just
they go, yeah, Chelsea will be back next season. How do you know that? Have you got any confidence now your club is run that you're going to be back next season? You're trying to get rid of Mason Mount for 70 million. And you're saying you're going to be back next season. Get out of here.
And nobody, and that's the thing. No one's gonna pay that. No one's gonna pay.
No. And also the player helps us too, because by all accounts, I think it was Ornstein said that Arsenal initially were interested in Mason Mount. And when they realized he wanted to come to United instead of Arsenal, they then moved on to Kai Havertz. So, all right, we'll try and get Kai Havertz instead. Not that that's like for like, because it's not really, but they decided to move on to Kai Havertz. So you've got a player then. If Chelsea screw this up, you've got a player that wants to come to United, has his heart set on coming to United, that you're pricing out of a move when you need to sell. That makes no sense in terms of negotiations.
Lux Hill says Owen hates Chelsea, how KG hates Arsenal.
You're right. I'm quite indifferent on them, honestly. It's more this season. This season, they annoyed the hell out of me.
I said to Owen today,
Enzo Fernandez, his contract is 10 years, Flex.
Yeah, it's mad.
That's a prison sentence. That's not a contract.
More for him for signing it, because when he gets trapped or can't move or whatever, that's his business, isn't it? They better hope he's as world class as they say he is. I said to Owen today, I was like, listen, man, at the end of the day, if Chelsea do strip their squad down, they've got a new manager. No one expected us to do bits when we were crap last season before last. New manager came in, players who were crap before were good now. Signings worked. If Pochettino comes in, say they do get Caicedo, they got a decent back four with some good players in it. If they do get a few up front, if they do get the changes they need, they could be, doing all right. They might get in the top 4 next season. Owen's having none of it. No. He's like, no. What? And you think the way they've run, they're going to be no. Owen's not.
I said it previously under Roman Abramovich, because look, it has happened before in recent Chelsea history. They won the title. Then where did they finish? Like 10th, I think it was that season when they had Jose, and then Gus Hiddink came back in, and then obviously they got Conte the next season. They won the league. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that something could happen. But that was under Roman Abramovich. That was with a squad of players who had won the league the prior season. So you had title winners in that squad. That squad there, first of all, there's like 100 of them. So which one do you pick? Which ones leave? Which ones stay? Plus new people they want to bring in. I know it's Poch, and I do think he'll improve them. But this idea that they're just going to be like, it was an off season. I just don't know if it is.
Jason Ramon says, so Owen, how do you feel about Chelsea?
I
Love says
hate
we
them.
love Owen.
They're the worst.
Love says we love Owen. I love his little outburst. Everyone's laughing at you. Steph's in there laughing. Aria's laughing. And then then Cam comes through. Says also worth a reminder that Spain forced David De Gea into retirement a while back. Just remembered and smiled. Cam is come on, bro. The hatred you have for him, I think, is bad. It is bad. Like, okay, you could say, look, even Spain don't want him anymore, like football and stuff. But the way that you smile, why did you smile? Why are you happy that he couldn't play in national football anymore? And that's not nice for him,
I've heard a rumor with Cam. I don't know how true this is. I've got to verify it. But do you know Cam has actually stopped using swear words in real life? Instead, now when he stubs his toe, he just he stopped using swear words. And when he stubs his toe now, he just says De Gea. It's worse. It's worse than saying the F word or anything like that. He just goes De Gea.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Mate.
Anything negative happens. Burns his food, opens it. Whatever. Runs out of petrol. De Gea.
There you go. There you go. Thanks for watching, guys.
Card's not working. Bloody De Gea.
Just blames him for every single thing. I've seen Cam come out the stadium. You know where Cam's like that. On coward. Yeah, but Cam, the other keeper, I just saw the other keeper kick it out on it. Yeah, and then why was that even a corner? Why was that even? Because David De Gea didn't even bloody catch it the first time. And then I watched the replay back and be like, well, it wasn't that bad. But listen, it is what it is. We all actually agree on the same thing though. But Cam's just funny the way he expresses it.
If for those that have watched UV Raw, there's a new version of the intro. And it has to be members only because on like YouTube, you can't, I don't think, say the F word after like 5 seconds, which is what that intro basically is. And one of them is Cam going, he's fucking shit. And everyone's like, oh, what's Cam talking about there? Who do you think he's talking about there? Who do you think he's talking about there? If you haven't checked out, check out because you'll now know. Damn.
Yeah. Joe Doe says, Flex, you effing fraud. Another faker who supports player over club. Big up John Doe.
You got to sort yourself out, Flex, yeah? You got to sort yourself out.
Big up John Doe. I feel like making him a mod.
Yeah.
Big up John Doe, man. I'm a fraud and I'm player FC.
Mm.
I want the head
you're
to stay.
You're what's wrong with this club.
I'm what's wrong with this club.
You're what's wrong with this club. Not the Glazers. You.
Flex, so you're saying players are bigger than the club, says Love.
Is that what you're saying?
Big up John Doe. Rick Ross tune. John Doe. You know what I'm saying? Big up.
I know who Rick Ross is.
You do know who Rick Ross is. You've seen him in the wrestling, haven't you?
I've seen him in wrestling. Accusations.
Tell me one Rick Ross song.
Purple Lamborghini.
Tell me another one.
Oh,
let's do that. I'll tell you what, just really quickly. Let's do that. Let's do that live thing. That you know when you can say how many, and then I go, no, you can't. No, you can. No, you can. But it's only one way, so you have to do it.
Go on then.
I bet you can't name me 4 Rick Ross songs.
Well, no, I can't. So it's not even a game. Purple Lamborghini was my limit. And do you know why I know that? Because it was in the first Suicide Squad. He was on the boat with Jared Leto.
Can you name me one Drake song? Come on, Owen.
No, because I do know it.
No,
I do know it. I do know. No,
you don't know the actual name.
I do.
Go on, Owen. Don't look at the comments. Don't know.
No, I'm not looking at it. I'm trying to concentrate. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking of the song in my head, isn't it?
Look how long he's taking.
One dance. I had to play the song in my head. One dance. That's so right.
Owen's going.
I had to literally go. I was like, I had to play. My head turned into like one of those record players. I had to go like this.
Can you name me one Kanye West song?
Yeah. Do you want me to?
Yeah, I do.
All of the lights.
Okay. Yeah. That's the safe
Gold
one.
Digger.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Touch the Sky.
Oh,
Is that
bloody
right?
hell. Yeah.
Homecoming with Chris Brown from Coldplay.
Okay. All right. Can you name me a Chris Brown song?
Yeah. AO is one, isn't it? That's one. Yeah. Another one is I gotta play the song in my head. These hoes ain't loyal. Flex. Damn right.
That's not the name of the song, though. That's not the name of the song. It's
What
that
is
one's
it
called
then?
Loyal. That's called Loyal.
Loyal. Oh, well, there you go.
Can you name me a Stormzy song?
Oh. I can't remember what it's called. So no.
Oh, we'll leave it there. I could do that. I could do that.
Can you name a Red Hot Chili Peppers song, Flex?
Californication.
Yeah, that's good. Can you name? That's easy. Can you name here's one. Can you name a Linkin Park song?
Oh, does Encore count, even though it was with Jay-Z?
I'll give you it. Can you name another one?
Is Linkin Park the Fred Durst, isn't it?
No.
Who's he again?
Limp
what one's he
Bizkit.
in? Oh, Limp Bizkit. Linkin Park. Nah, there's no others that come to mind apart from the one with Jay-Z. You can see for obvious reasons why I know that song.
Vossi Bop. I did know that. I did know that.
There you go, Vossi Pop. Yeah. What other Linkin Park ones are there?
In
Blackbird.
the end.
Never heard that. No, I never heard that.
Well, there you go.
Crawling in my skin. Oh, all right. Yeah. There you go. That's something for UV Raw in the future. Guys, take care. We'll see you. We'll see you when we see you, actually, because everything's changing all the time. So, yeah. We'll see you when we see you. Watch stream, smash the like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Take care, guys. Peace.